Hey, this is David Kudell. I'm excited to play you some music that I wrote using a new sample library called Miroire from Orchestral Tools. What makes this library special is that it's made up of period instruments from the 18th century, and these have a really unique sound that you don't typically find with more modern orchestral instruments. Now you might be thinking, hold on, I don't write a lot of Baroque style music. Well, neither do I, but I was able to use this library to write an opening theme to a TV show that could really work for a lot of things, from a historical period drama to a magical fantasy to something more modern. I think this will be a really useful tool for a ton of video game genres as well. Okay, so first let's take a listen to the music, and then I'll talk about how I put it together. Alright, well that's the track. Now let's check out some of the instruments in context. The first thing I did was sketch out my melody on the piano. So I'm using the Vivid Keys piano here, and I'm in 3/4 time just to make things a little bit more interesting. For the solo at the beginning, I'm using the oboe d'amore, which is one of a number of oboes that are included with the library. This one has this buttery, smooth sound to it that's unique and a little bit mysterious. Supporting the oboe are the strings. For the long notes, I have the violins playing both tremolos, and I'm doubling that with sustains as well. There are a lot of mic options to choose from, and for this track I really wanted to hear the space of the teledeck stage. So I turned the close mic down a lot, and I'm mostly using the tree mics. Next I have the violins and violas playing staccatissimo, which really keeps the track moving with a sense of rhythm. I had a lot of fun creating these harmonies, starting with writing the violin part and then doing the harmonies on the violas. These violins from the 1700s have kind of a raw, biting quality to them that gives them a lot of character. And then as the track goes on, I increase the velocity of the notes so they go from more quiet to more aggressive. And then for the low end, Miroire comes with what I think is one of the gems of the library, and that's the combined section called the basso continuo. This includes a bass, 2 celli, and a bassoon. They did a great job recording this because the low end is phenomenal. As you can see, there's a ton of articulations, and I'm using both the legato and the staccatissimo. I also really like the fact that each instrument has a dedicated spot mic, and here I've raised the bassoon to push it out front a little bit more. Okay, so after the oboe part, we get to hear the choir for the first time. Orchestral Tools has a reputation for making really great choirs, from Metropolis Arc to Talon. And for this library, they've included a men's and women's choir that's tailored to blend with these period instruments. The women are singing syllables here for this part of the song. And joining the choir are the violas playing these accents with the marcato shorts. I was having so much fun by this point, I threw in a bit of harpsichord from Berlin Harpsichords as well. That's a separate library, but definitely check that one out as well. This is also the first time that we hear the brass. Miroire comes with 2 horns and 2 trumpets, and it's definitely not the brass you're used to. For one thing, there's no legato. I know what you're thinking. No legato? Seriously? Well, just take a look at these instruments. They don't even do legato. Major props to the musician who knows how to play that thing. Still, there's a lot of articulations for the brass, and I'm using the marcatos in my track to provide these accents. Okay, so the theme to this point has been very punchy and dramatic. So for the middle section, let's call it the bridge of the song, I contrasted that with a more flowing and lyrical style. The bridge can be broken down even further into 4 small sections. So the first section is driven by the violins playing a fingered legato articulation, and the violas are playing a harmony part along with that. And the basso continuo is adding a lot of low end to this part of the song as well. And then I'm adding in the men's and women's choir legatos. The second part of the bridge features the men's choir and the brass playing a 3-note melody together. The third part is probably the most classical sounding section of the piece. The job of that was just to set up the next section, which is going to get a lot more dramatic. So here I'll be bringing in the full strings and choir. I'm also doubling up the melody to help it stand out even more. I also brought in some percussion here, and I'm using the Tom Holkenborg percussion, specifically the bass drum, surdos, and the taille toms. I'm also sprinkling in some Berlin percussion as well. So going back to the last part of the bridge, when I add the percussion in, this is what it sounds like. At the end of the bridge, the violins are playing these trills, which are kind of a fun way to transition back to the main theme again. So for the last part of the song, we're playing the main theme again, but this time everything is ramped up to 11. And then for the choir, now the men have also joined in, and now they are also singing the syllables with the women. And finally, I've also added more brass accents to the mix as well. Well, that brings us to the end. I hope you found this video helpful. You can learn more about Miroire over at the Orchestral Tools website. And if you like this track, you can hear more of my music on my YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.